Hello and welcome to The View from the Swift Business Forum Ireland, filmed on location in Dublin. I'm Joy Macknight, Managing Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Ian Headon, Senior Vice President at Northern Trust, to talk about globalising the Irish capital markets. Ian, thanks so much for joining us today. So can you tell me a little bit about the state of the Irish funds industry?
Sure. So the Irish industry has enjoyed, really in retrospect, what has been spectacular success over the last 15, 20, 25 years. All of the things that contributed to the success of the industry for the last 20 years are not necessarily the things that are going to help us continue to enjoy that competitive edge as we look forward. If I could pick a couple of examples. Obviously, one of our closest neighbours and one of our most important trading partners in the UK are likely to leave the European Union at some point in the near future. And all of those relationships are going to change. Politically in Europe, those relationships are going to change as regulators think about who's holding the pen on financial regulation, who's influencing how that regulation is going to develop, and therefore the impact that has into the 3- and 4-way relationships between Ireland, the UK, the rest of Europe, the US. That remains a piece of work for thoughtful and intelligent men and women over the next couple of years to ensure that Ireland can continue to enjoy the success that we've built up to date.
Yeah, so in the context of Brexit, how do you think that they can ensure exactly that success?
One of the things we've just been talking about on the panel is what are the skill sets that are going to remain at a premium if we think about the next 5 to 10 years in an environment where technology is going to become all important. And a couple of things that we've just called out were around problem solving and relationships. Certainly to us at Northern Trust, they feel like skills that are going to remain absolutely at a premium. It goes without saying that having people who are good at problem solving and relationships is not going to be enough. We clearly need to, and we are automating our environment to make our data available to clients in a much more efficient way. However, specifically when it comes to those kind of shifting relationships, it remains incumbent upon us, selfishly in my day job at Northern Trust, but also to the extent that I wear a green Irish hat in terms of representing the industry, that we continue to make it as easy as is possible for UK managers and UK investors to do business here, even if they're outside the EU and they're operating in a different regulatory environment. One of the successes of the Irish industry relative to some others is that Ireland has developed an extensive experience in two things: servicing Irish domicile funds, but also servicing funds domiciled globally. So one of the advantages that gives us is that when we walk into a fund manager's office in London and the manager says, I don't know if I want to have this fund in Ireland or Cayman, from a narrow, selfish Irish perspective, doesn't matter. It can be fully serviced here. There's a full ecosystem to service that manager and service the investors. And all of the routines, the environment, the skill, the expertise we've built up is sufficiently nimble to be able to switch between an Irish fund and a Cayman fund as required. That kind of approach to me feels like that's going to remain at a premium when the environment changes, when the UK is outside the EU.
Okay, and will that still give Ireland a competitive edge then?
So that's our job, is to make sure that we continue to harness the advantages that we've built up. History will tell us that not everyone who's had a leading position in the market retains that leading position forever. There are other jurisdictions who clearly look at Ireland and some of the other financial jurisdictions with a degree of envy. It is absolutely incumbent upon us to ensure that we continue to do the things that will make Ireland an attractive place to do business. Now, it goes without saying that when myself and my colleagues are talking to the government, talking to the regulator, talking to each other about where we think the industry wants to go, not everything is perfect. If it was, there'd be no need for industry associations. So there's a whole set of things that we would like to advance. However, the single biggest kind of overarching direction that's certainly that's in my mind is continuing to make it easy for UK managers to do business here in the context of that change that's coming.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.